So here it is. This is my little office. It's not very big and hopefully I'm moving again soon. The reason being is the house that I'm staying in is on the market and it's been sold. Yay! But boo for me, which means I have to find somewhere else to live. I'm looking for a place that's got a bit of space so I can record and do some vlogs. So one thing I wanted to talk about, I'm going to get my handy little notes because, you know, this is all ad hoc stuff. I want to talk about Iceland. Iceland was a beautiful trip. It was absolutely magical. The location was stunning. The scenery was breathtaking, and there's a lot of things that I learned from my trip in Iceland that might be quite useful for any of you guys that are looking to travel this year. So as soon as the restrictions lift, then hopefully we can all get on the road and get to some new places and get snapping. So one thing I wanted to talk about was staying in a van. You have to be really quite selective as to the time of year you choose to stay in a van, and naive me went along and booked a van in the best price season, which is autumn, sort of winter, and I think I did pay the price of that.
Oh, can you hear that? Awful, awful rain.
The reason being is that most days it rained. I had one day of no rain and sunshine, and that made it really difficult for photography. For me, when it comes to doing a trip, I think, oh, varied conditions, rain, clouds, that's great because that means rainbows, that means stormy clouds, intermittent light. The problem I had was I didn't have all of that intermittent light. I didn't have much of a break in the rain, and yeah, I think that had an impact on my, I guess, my morale in terms of just the ability to do things, to go out walking, to go out and cook food, which I'll come to in a minute. It really meant I was tied to the van. So I was driving quite a lot, and there's so much of Iceland I feel like I didn't see, purely because I was stuck to the vehicle, and because of the conditions. Like, we had really high winds, sideways rain, downpour rain, in your face rain. It was a bit mental, but yeah, so I'd say plan your time of year. Make sure you look at going when the weather's a little better, a better season, so at least you have a bit of a break in the torrential downpour. And that takes me on to my next tip, or next bit of advice, is if you're going to hire a van, make sure you get one where you can make a cup of tea inside. And I know that sounds really simple, but because of the lack of clear weather, I had to go out of my van, set up a table, have a portable gas heater with a pan of boiling water, and cook my food and make a cup of tea. And if you've got 50-mile-an-hour winds, torrential downpour, that means that you have to go outside and brave those conditions in order to get a cup of tea or to eat. In the end, I just stopped having cups of tea. In the beginning I really tried, and then, because it's something that's really important to me, being English, but yeah, in the end I gave up and I just focused on food, and then I started just having dried food and warming things up as quick as I could and getting inside. So yeah, biggest lesson is have a van where you can actually sit in. So I had a static van, which was a little bit like a static bed, sorry, which was set in place, and I could sit on the bed sort of with my back slightly straight, but it was a little bit bent. So I was editing away, having cups of water, not cups of tea, and it just meant that I couldn't really fully edit and unwind in the van. So I think if I had a foldable bed, that would have been the ticket. And if I had a way of making a cup of tea, so like an electric tea maker, boiler, something through the van, that would have been really good. The heater was great. The heater was a lifesaver. So yeah, anyone looking at getting a van, make sure you plan a time when the weather's better, where you can actually camp and boil stuff, and try and get something where it's foldable and you've got more living space, because I kind of felt like I was just always sat on the bed, whereas if you've got a foldable sort of bed space and a little area where you can sit with a laptop and a desktop, then it would be a lot better. There's so many different types of vans or hires over in Iceland. You are sport for choice, so if you're looking for the next year, 2 years, whenever COVID goes away, then I would definitely recommend you look at one that's got a little bit more sort of leisure space and the ability to move around or at least sit up. Another good thing is USB rechargeable battery chargers. So on the road it's really vital that you have good connection to energy. So I had some USB Canon chargers that you could hook up through USB. That meant that I could charge my batteries on the road. I wasn't reliant on the connection where you have your plug to the wall. So good USB rechargers for your kit. And also I think another massive investment is going to be a really decent power bank. If you're on the road and you're in a van and your next town or somewhere where there's going to be anywhere dry or food or electric, wherever you're going, if you've got a decent power bank, it will see you through. And that for me was a really good sort of safety net. I'd charge that up because you can only charge a certain amount of items at a time when you're driving. So I had a great sort of system on the go where I'd charge up my power bank, charge everything else up in the day, and then at night I'd charge my phone and then use the power bank to charge up the remaining batteries. So I had a little bit of a system going. So yeah, get some good USB chargers and a good power bank. The next thing is not to overpack. So the vans are quite limited in space. They are really small, and if you have got a lot of stuff, a lot of clothes, a lot of layers, a lot of tripods, all that kind of stuff, you are going to feel like you've got no room, and you won't be able to find things easily. I found that whenever the light was happening, then I just need to stop the van, get out, get my bag, go. And because I was vlogging at the same time, it meant a lot of my kit was all over the place. So for me, I feel like I packed the right amount, and any more I think would have been probably too much to keep on top of. So yeah, just make sure you pack smart, pack efficient, and it should make those occasions of light much more smoother if you need to rush out. And the final tip of van life, I'd say, is food. Food, you can actually save a bit of money in Iceland and buy your food from a supermarket. The reason being is eating out in Iceland is actually quite expensive, and I'm not obviously against that. It's supporting the economy. It is an island and everything has to be imported in, so they have to make the cost back somewhere. But when you're coming in on a budget, and if you want to save some money, then I'd recommend you go shopping at the local supermarket, which is really iconic. It's got like a little pig. This is if you're going to Iceland. It's got a little pig on the front. I can't remember what it's called, but I'll put a link in the description. And I saved loads of money there. I got loads of orange juice, got loads of like snack food, loads of fruit that kept me going. I had a little cool fridge, and that kept everything pretty chilled. So that was a lifesaver, and I think by doing that I saved a lot of money. And then the only time I ever ate out was once, and out of 2 weeks I didn't succumb to ordering food or going anywhere. And the reason being is that I was on a budget. I really couldn't afford it. And the one meal I did have, I'll tell you at the end of the video. So those are my, I think it's everything that I've covered. Those are my top tips in terms of getting a van. Van life is amazing. Be prepared for long driving hours if you're going to do the ring road. Some absolutely beautiful scenery, breathtaking mountains, open road, insane, like just so magical. Pick a good playlist as well that really is gonna enhance your trip. And music on the road, oh my god, music on the road just kept me so relaxed and inspired. And if you've got a good playlist, what's really magical is if you're on a road trip and you play that music again, it takes you back to the scenes that you saw, it takes you back to that moment. And there was one song I played quite a lot was the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Road Trippin'. and that was perfect. That every time I hear that now, I'm driving through Iceland, I'm back in that driver's seat and I've got the open road before me. So yeah, a good playlist is always useful. And shop around. I think that's the best sort of bits of advice I can give regarding van life. The reason I've done this video is because a couple of people asked about what it's like to hire a van or what tips they would recommend. And for me, it was such a big lesson, massive life lesson, never having lived in a van before, of what I needed to do, how I could live in it, what food and all the other bits that I've discussed already. So yeah, next time I'm going to get a jet boil. Next time I have more space, I'm going to have all those things where I can just be a bit more efficient heating up my food and living a bit more comfortably. So yeah, that's the end of my tips for van life. And if you ever are thinking of getting a van, then yeah, it's quite a good sort of useful tutorial to give you guys some advice about what things to consider when you're on the road. My road trip in Iceland was during COVID and the conditions were really testing, so I did end the last video on a bit of a negative, and I think that's because I was just flat out filming every day and I wasn't getting those home comforts like having a shower or having a cup of tea, and if you take those away it can make it quite testing. Iceland was a beautiful location and I definitely want to go back when the weather's a little bit better. It was a real test of my resilience and being on my own and not really seeing many people. And that takes me on to the one meal that I did have. And towards the end of my 2 weeks, I didn't speak to anyone. I didn't talk to anyone. I didn't interact with other human beings. I spoke to my partner on the phone pretty much every day. But yeah, I didn't have much contact with anyone, and wow, I think that really did impact my sort of well-being. And towards the end of the trip, when I put the camera down, I started to seek out human contact. And part of the sort of the rules with Iceland is that if you are going to go camping, you need to camp at campsites. Now, because of COVID, all the campsites were pretty much shut, bar a few. The ones that I did go to, they were empty. There wasn't anyone there. I had one campsite where I had showers and a little communal space, and I had that all to myself, which was great, but I did feel like there wasn't really anyone around. So towards the end of my trip, I started to seek out hostels or campsites that had communal spaces for eating. And that is when I met some really amazing people. I met two girls from Germany, we hung out, and I met the guy from France. And the guy from France was wicked. He was so cool. We went for a hike on my last day, went to some hot springs, and then on the way down, after a long high mile-an-hour wind hike where we almost blown off the side of the mountain, went down and we got food together. And having a food with a stranger and talking about each other's lives was just so insightful, so amazing, and I had such a good time. And I think because I lacked the human contact, I really valued that interaction. I really valued conversation and laughing and talking to someone other than listening to my playlist. Human contact is really important. And it sounds like I've been to Mars and stuff on Mars, but I felt like I was. One of my videos is called Mars, and it feels like I was pretty much in no man's land. COVID has stopped everyone travelling, everyone coming into the country, and Iceland is quite a big empty place, and that was perfect as a photographer, but as a social creature, I think that was quite isolating. So I'm looking forward to actually going back when there's more people about and the weather is better. So that is the end of my tips on Iceland. That's the trip as a whole. I'm looking to travel again soon as I can. I want to do the North Coast 500 up in Scotland. Gonna hire another van, go around all the Highlands and explore with my camera. And the last thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is I have done a random prize draw with my viewers. Some of you obviously haven't signed up to this. I just decided it was a nice thing to do. I've gone through all the comments and looked at the people that commented the most. I think I I went through all of my videos, which isn't very many, and looked at people that commented on at least, I think it was 6 or more occasions, and I put them into a random number generator, and I've come up with a number of names. I think it's 5 names that have won a print, which will be sent over to their addresses soon, and I'll show you guys what this print looks like. My messy office. So this is the print of a mountain in Iceland, and one of the first locations I took a photo, which was perfect light, great conditions, rainbows. Those conditions didn't come back again, so I really value that photo, and I just want to say thank you to all of my subscribers, everyone that engages in my channel. And I know I don't post very often, and I really want to film more. It's something that I'm really passionate about and something that I really want to do. And so part of my sort of way of saying thank you is to send you guys a free print without you even asking for it. So hope you guys enjoy it and you find a space for it. I do plan to vlog more. With my job and the current commitment and the climate of COVID, I am working more. My mindset is not in the creative world at the moment, and that's just purely because of the restrictions. As soon as COVID starts to lift and I can travel again, I can do more dedicated trips. But over the next few months, I plan to do some videos from around where I live or around where I am, and that'll be just taking a camera handheld whilst exercising and just taking some pictures ad hoc. I want to do some landscape abstract photography, and I also want to do some light photography. So that's part of a couple of subjects that I've been exploring to develop myself recently. So expect some more videos coming up very soon. And the final announcement, there's so much going on, is I have started painting, and I love watercolor painting. I'm pretty crap at it, but I'm trying. I'm going to show you the stages of watercolor and just how bad it can be, and then how okay it can be. But the final result will be here shortly. So I would like to say the first one turned out better, but it didn't in the end. I'm kind of embarrassed to show you the original. It just looks so bad. So it's okay. It's not too bad. It's cute. It's like a kid's drawn this or painted this. So this is that print that I showed you guys. So I'm not going to put that on the screen too long because I don't like that one. So that's kind of the stuff that I'm playing around with. I want to watercolour my landscape photography and then get them printed and put them onto canvases and put them onto print paper, or even, you know, a t-shirt with a landscape picture on it. So this is the kind of the next one, which is a little bit better. There's a bit more detail. The rainbow is not as blocky. Yeah, there's one last one, which is a beautiful tree that I've been doing. So I have been busy doing landscape stuff, but maybe not in the way that you guys are used to. And my project for this year is to paint my photography and have that available on my website so people can have a mixture of prints and artwork. So that's the end of the video. I have waffled on for I think about 20 minutes, and if you're still with me, thank you so much for joining me this week. There will be more content coming out soon, and yeah, thank you so much for being a part of my channel and subscribing and liking. And if you guys could hit a like button, that always helps, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.